Today on the DML News Podcast, a massacre at a church in Michigan, a massacre in the United States when it comes to Islam. ICE is under attack but pushing back, and Trump makes a very interesting announcement about CBD. Can't make this stuff up. Get ready, it's Monday, and we're all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. On the controls is my son, Ryan, and sitting here in the desk, getting back to normal, getting ready to come to you every single day. Right now, it's Monday to Thursday, but starting next week, I may try to sell Ryan on doing this every morning. Just saying, put it out there. On social media, I asked people, how would you like the DML News Podcast to come to you? Would you like it twice a week for an hour and a half? Or would you like it every day for at least an hour? And the feedback overall was, DML, we miss you. The country needs you. We want you here every day for an hour. But I will say people were respectable of my time. They were concerned about me being able to take care of my wife and everything else like that. So my wife, Mary, going to try to get her maybe this Thursday for the program. And that's why, when we redesigned our studio office here, and over here, there's a desk that I look at. You really can't see it the way the cameras are set up, but we have it so this way I can bring in a guest and sit across from me. And I think my wife will be that person Thursday. And it's going to be talking about the status of America, where things are going. And I know right now everything feels great. And, there's so much promise in America. And I know a lot of times it feels like there are aspects of our country which we are experiencing the worst of times. And then there's other parts where it feels really great. And I'm never going to lose hope. I am never going to lose faith in the fact that the American people are going to figure things out. We're going to get our country back on track. And we are going to be able to shine greater than ever before. And it's a big thing as we go into October, and I sort of get my my sea legs back here in doing the podcast with you. I want to be able to express my optimism as often as possible for all things America. And look, nothing in this world comes easy. And if it comes easy, well, then it probably isn't all that great. I sat here and talked about my wife for a second before. I mean, I remember when I first met my wife, and I went home in ninth grade and I told my mother that, I met the girl that I was going to marry. And my mother kind of laughed. And when I brought this up to Mary later on, she didn't think she was going to marry me right away. She kind of laughed at it too. And I had to work really hard at that. And boy, is she happy I did. But that being said, I mean, the great news is this. I mean, I'm going to go over a lot of stuff today that's going to feel awfully negative. And I'm not going to deny it is. And we have an incredible amount of problems in the country. But I will also say that we have an incredible administration tackling those problems. In fact, never in my 56 years have I ever seen a government in the United States of America, notwithstanding Ron DeSantis's Florida government. I have never seen a government work so well in trying to make every single one of its promises come to fruition. Never seen it. A lot of people talk. They're on the stump. They never, ever come to fruition. They never, ever really result in anything that is great. And the thing that we should really be excited about, and I mean really excited about, is that Donald Trump hasn't even hit his first year yet. How excited is that? I mean, I remember when it was, who the hell is texting me? I remember when it was one of my best friends. I remember when it was Biden. I remember when it was Obama. And I used to say, man, I don't want to get old. But man, do I want these years to go by quick. And now it's just the opposite. If Trump can indeed clean up all the messy, how great is it to be alive? How great is it to be here and to be able to spread the word of love and get love and just be alive? I mean, I talk about it all the time. I'm the luckiest guy alive. I mean, I look across. I got my son working with me right now. We work every day. He was here yesterday. We were getting in the studio, doing more stuff in the studio. We're only even showing you half of it so far. You know, my daughter and my son-in-law to be, you know, brought over dinner. You know, I got my other son, Denny, right now at home working on getting all of our newsletters out to you. It's just my daughter, Kelly, we're going to take a look at colleges next week. I mean, these are great things. So although we do complain about things on this show, I don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that I'm very optimistic about the future of America. I am very optimistic about what it is that we can do as a country for as long as the people in Washington, D.C., continue to focus in on fixing the problems that they promised they would fix. And that people like you and people like me continue to stay motivated and get out there and do whatever we've got to do to make America great again. If it's on your end and it means going out and supporting somebody who's running for office, going out to support somebody who's coming to your town and giving a speech or doing whatever it may be, or even just sharing, like I'm going to ask you right now, please hit the share button if you haven't already. If you're on Facebook and you're watching this live, please make sure you put in a comment. Make sure you hit a like. That's the way the algorithms say, hey, people are interested in this. So we got a couple of things we're going to cover here. And we're going to start with something that I thought was really super cool. And all of you know that I have a CBD business, DMLCBD.com. And I started that business shortly after Donald J. Trump signed the 2018 Farm Bill. A couple of months later, I got into it. And I fell into the CBD business by chance. I was having incredible aches and pains. Incredible. And now as I'm doing all these MRIs, I'm starting to understand why I had the incredible pains. But I had my neck, my back. It was just always so bad. And it was just horrible. And it was going down into my arms and you name it. And I got to take my watch off. I have this new Apple Watch. And every time I get a text message, my wrist pings, and my two best friends here locally are going crazy with sending me text messages right now. So I'm ringing all of them. But going back, and so I got into the CBD business, and right then and there, COVID started. So it was the perfect thing to be into, because one of the things that CBD does is it improves your immune system. It boosts your immune system. And at the time, because I had done a lot of study about CBD and what it actually did, it goes in and it tamps down a receptor that creates inflammation, and inflammation creates pain. And I said, okay, fine, because I'm going to take something in my body, and if I'm going to sell it to other people, even though I'm the one who has created the formula for the lab, I want to know what it's doing to the human body. Well, at the same time, COVID was attacking the same receptor. And people weren't dying of COVID. They were dying of what's called a cytokine storm, which was the immune response to this new germ that the body had never seen before. It didn't know how to fight it. And so older people and people with, obesity and other underlying issues who have weakened immune systems, their immune system just couldn't do it. And so I was like, well, I wonder if CBD would have worked with this thing with COVID. And it turned out to be that so many different people using CBD said, yes, I'm not getting sick. And Anthony Fauci and the NIH actually have it on their website. You could do a search for it, NIH COVID-19 and CBD. And it will tell you that they believe CBD could be a legitimate, not only preventative, but a treatment. But you never heard Anthony Fauci say that. Well, anyway, with that all said, last night, Mary comes barging into the door. And she says, you never believe what Trump just posted. I said, what did Trump just post? She said, he just put out a whole promo for CBD and how it is that it helps people, especially seniors, people who are over 50. Although I don't feel like a senior, I guess I am. People who are over 50. And I said, really? Did it really? She goes, yeah, you've got to watch it. And I said, great. So Ryan's going to put up the video right now before he plays it. This was on Trump's Truth Social last night at about 9 o'clock. Take a play.
We've all heard about the major systems in our bodies, like the digestive, respiratory, nervous, and cardiovascular systems. But there's one essential system discovered in the 90s that you probably never heard of. It makes all of the other systems work smoothly with each other. Like a conductor ensuring the different sections of an orchestra all play a beautiful symphony together. This system is called the endocannabinoid system. It has been acknowledged and studied by scientists extensively with support from the National Institutes of Health. As we age, the system weakens. As a result, the different systems in our body stop working together smoothly. That's one of the reasons older adults struggle with pain, inflammation, cognitive decline, and other ailments of aging, for which doctors often prescribe dangerous and addictive pharmaceuticals. They also recommend lifestyle remedies, such as exercise, good diet, and stress management. And while all these improve the system, it is only fractionally and over a long time. But here's the game changer. The system can be restored faster using hemp-derived CBD. When the system is restored, pain subsides, sleep is improved, and stress is reduced. When the system is restored, disease progression can slow down, and years are added to your life, as well as years spent in good health. And 20% of seniors are already using CBD today for pain, arthritis, cancer symptoms, sleep disorders, Alzheimer's, and many other ailments of aging. But doctors are not equipped to provide guidance, and there are no FDA standards for what is already in the market today. Imagine if that were the case for other medications. Older adults are suffering needlessly. Hemp-derived CBD can help them feel better, live longer, and improve their quality of life significantly.
A PricewaterhouseCoopers report estimates annual cost savings for the U.S. nearly $64 billion a year if cannabis is fully integrated into the healthcare system.
The groundbreaking 2018 Farm Bill, championed by President Trump, was the first step. Now it's time to educate doctors on the endocannabinoid system, provide Medicare coverage for CBD, and give millions of seniors the support they deserve. You will deliver the most important senior health initiative of the century, cementing your legacy and transforming aging care. Millions everywhere will thank you.
So yeah, that's, it's funny that video is sort of exactly what it is that we've experienced here at DML CBD. I mean, and I don't know what the president has up his sleeve. He's got something up his sleeve, but there's got to be a reason why he put that out. And whatever the reason is, I'm sure it's coming. Maybe one of the things is that he's going to start going after the pharmaceutical companies, as he should. The pharmaceutical companies are selling us toxins. Horrible, 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 horrible toxins. And the great thing about CBD, and thank you, President Trump, is that it's a plant. It's a plant-based. And now, our CBD is not marijuana. Ours is hemp-based. So usually, once every quarter, we run a BOGO, a buy one, get one free. And based on this video going out, we're going to announce it a few days earlier. So, and nowadays, I keep limited amount of supply simply because we do not have a new warehouse yet. We have somebody else shipping our products for us. My boys actually go up there, inspect it, and make sure everything's great. So if you want to jump in, if you're an existing customer, DMLCBD.com is right now having its buy one, get one free. You know, we do this for a couple of weeks, and then we'll shut it down, and then it doesn't come back for another 3 months. Go to DMLCBD.com. Anything you buy, we will double your order for free. If you have not tried this yet, if you're having problems sleeping, those problems could go away. If you are having aches and pains, like we all do, I am telling you, I use this every single day, and it is like magic. Same thing, skin issues. Mary had incredibly ugly eczema all over her elbows. Ever since we've been married, we got into the CBD business. She puts on our lotions. It's gone. Anxiety, gone. So there's so many different things it does. So my stuff is all tested safe. In fact, it's double tested. The ingredients are all tested before they're used. And then when we formulate the product, it's tested again. So you could say double tested. And it is all manufactured in the most reputable labs there are in the country. And yours truly not only designed it, but my entire family uses it. So you may want to give that a look. But thank you, President Trump, because without you, we would not have any CBD, let alone DML CBD. Moving on here, there was the shooting yesterday, and this is one of the things about America that is tough right now. This is really one of the things about America, which is brutal. Here in Florida, we had concealed carry, and we did not have open carry. Now, the difference between the two is in the wording. Concealed carry, you got to cover up the fact that you're carrying your firearm. That's what I do. I'm always with my firearm, and I always cover it over. Open carry means that you can open it, and everybody, you could have it carrying it in the open. Everybody can see what it is that you are carrying. And Florida just changed from concealed carry to open carry, which in of itself may backfire on Florida, because this is a, by and large, very safe state already. But you have a lot of people who are tourists. Tourism in Florida is humongous. And already flying around the internet is a picture of a guy who now is basically carrying like an AK-47 style rifle on his back as he's driving his motorcycle through the streets. And then I believe one of my family members said that they saw a guy yesterday at the mall. He was actually carrying an AR-15. This is going to make people feel uncomfortable. And, it's one thing if you're carrying your sidearm. It's another thing if you start walking through the malls with AR-15s. I will tell you, malls are dead already. But when this starts happening, you're going to see the retailers are going to complain about it. That's my little prediction. But the problem is that we have this very, very, very small amount of people who do not know how to conduct themselves, mainly because they have become mentally insane. One thing or another has triggered, and they are insane, to the point of where they sell themselves that people who they don't align with, whether it is from a religious standpoint, political standpoint, whatever it may be, they think that it's time for them to carry out and kill innocent people. It's one thing if somebody comes in and hurts your family and you want to retaliate, and that's how you retaliate. You could maybe understand why somebody did that. But when you go in to a church, when you drive your truck into a church and you set it afire, and there's a picture right there on my sidewall here of one of the shots there of the church in Michigan. It's a Mormon church. Guy drives his truck up, 40-year-old, ex-Army, he's a vet, and reports are, I just watched a video last night of a guy who was running for city council in that area of Michigan, and he was going canvassing and he was knocking on doors, and he actually met this guy. I'm not going to say the shooter's name. And he met him and he started talking to him, and he said, yeah, because and started having the conversation about wanting to get his vote for city council. And he just started asking me questions like, what are you going to do about these Mormons? And he just started going into about how Mormons are such horrible people, whatever. And he said, I just kind of walked away, and now the FBI is interviewing this guy. And so he drives his truck in, smashes it into the front door, gets out, starts shooting people, sets the place ablaze. We got at least 4 people dead. Kid was shot in the back. What makes somebody do that? You only do it as if you're insane. And so when I look at who's carrying out these horrible, terrible things, it always comes back that it is a trans or it is a person who has PTSD of some kind and who isn't getting the treatment they deserve. And when people have heart disease in this country, we will be right on it right away. Oh, high cholesterol, do this. Oh, high blood pressure, take that. I mean, there's no shame in having a bad heart. There's no shame in eating McDonald's every day and creating in such a way that this way your heart isn't working the way it should be. You're heavy, you're overweight, take Ozempic. Go to Jenny Craig. Come on, join me for a yoga class. But when you're mentally insane, when you're not firing on all cylinders, you're blown off. You are pushed away. We don't have the services in this country like we used to have the services. I mean, one thing the Trump administration's got to do better at, we don't hear enough about it. I mean, we're hearing a lot about, the Department of War, a lot about ICE, even stuff out of the State Department, which I have problems with, a lot of different things, but I never hear anything about what the veterans are getting. I'd like to know the stat. What's the updated stat? Do we still have 22 veterans every single day taking them their lives? I know I got one guy taking the lives of 4 people and shooting up other ones. Got another guy who was ex-military, North Carolina, the night before the church shooting. Guy takes his boat on the water, goes to a waterfront restaurant, place where I've had my boat countless times. Spraying bullets, killing people. We have got to, and I mean got to, start making inroads to where this country can start helping the people who need help. We have to start taking mental health as serious as we do heart health or weight loss. The mental health epidemic in this country is real. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to have more of this. More of churches burning down, more people running for their lives because some madman, and I'll admit, look, I always talk about black on black crime. I talk about the crimes of illegal aliens. We're going to talk a lot today about Muslims and what they're trying to do to the United States. But let me tell you something. Every time I see a shooting, it's always a white guy. Why are we having such a problem in this country with mental health, and why aren't people getting better? And it's a problem, and it's one that President Trump has got to address. We cannot let it go. I'd like to see the fact that he's putting CBD down, but let me tell you something. CBD isn't going to wind up helping somebody with their mental disorder. Especially today, in the AI era and the social media era, you get so caught up in the world of digital. It's a very lonely world. We have people right now in the United States, maybe you're one of them, loneliness in the United States of America is at an all-time high. People feel lonely. They feel isolated. They're living through their computers. Go outside, touch the grass, ground yourself, go for a walk, say hello to somebody. These sort of things will trigger the serotonin and the positive nature that we need in the brain. I know alone, if Mary takes Kelly away for a lacrosse tournament, and I got to stay home because I'm watching the dog, or we got stuff going on, work, or whatever it may be, and I'm home for 2 or 3 days by myself, I feel it. I can feel the loneliness. I can feel the stir crazy. Imagine having to do that every single day. And what starts to happen is you start to get lost in your thoughts. And you start buying your own headlines. and then you feel as if you're going to do something good for the world because you're going to go in and you're going to shoot a whole bunch of churchgoers, that's mental insanity. You want to change from being Dennis to Denise? That's mental insanity. And so what we're doing incorrectly is we are just focusing in on the sensationalized part of these stories. Oh my God, did you see the church? Did you see that guy who drove his car through the thing? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, did you see? Did you see that crazy kid, blue painted hair? What, my goodness. I'll give you. You want to see mental insanity? I don't know if I have it. I'll try to get it here. I don't know if I could get on my computer here for my Facebook page. Let me see. Maybe I can. I will show you mental insanity. I mean, this is a serious problem. There's a kid. Let me see if I could get it. It is. Look at that. Look at that kid. Let me see if you can see this or not. I mean, look at that. Tell me that isn't somebody who's suffering from mental insanity. I mean, it looks like a Halloween costume, but it's not a Halloween costume. It's a human being. And we have ourselves a problem there. Speaking of mental insanity, for some reason, we have got ourselves a whole section of the United States of America that thinks ICE is a bad organization. ICE is not a bad organization. ICE is not the Gestapo. ICE is not Hitler. ICE is Immigration Customs Enforcement. It is a federal agency. And its job, in part, is to capture illegal aliens who are in the country illegally and deport them. They are not some crazy Trump-driven Gestapo where they're just going to march through the streets and start doing terrible things to people because they don't like their skin color. That's the way that the left, that's the way that the media is trying to paint ICE. And now what's happening, rightfully so, Trump is sending in National Guard, he's sending in ICE, he's going city to city, and he is getting raids done. He is taking to the streets and cleaning it up. And what's happening is that the wackos, the mentally sick on the left, are interrupting the flow of federal agents. And last night, just by means of, I was bored and said, you know what, let me go on and talk to some people. I was bored getting the show together. I was lonely. I wasn't bored. I was lonely. So I went on Facebook and I explained to people, if you hit a federal agent, if you hit him, no bodily harm, but you just hit him, it is a misdemeanor that can carry up to 1 year in prison. Do you ever hear anything on Fox News or the DML News app or anything about a person who has gone to prison for 1 year for hitting a ICE agent? No, you don't see anything because the DA will throw it out or the judge won't enforce it. Pam Bondi has got to start talking to the U.S. attorneys throughout this country and say, I want people who touch federal agents, I want them in jail for the maximum of 1 year. I don't care what you got to do. Open an investigation into these people. If you cause bodily harm to an agent, it could be up to 7 years. Nobody is ever held accountable. Ryan, we got B-roll of ICE. Play the B-roll of ICE. What these ICE agents are having to deal with is absolute insanity. It's insane. And think about what you need to be like as a human being that you are going to try to get in the way of ICE agents and fight with them because they're trying to go out and get the worst people possible and get them off the streets. It makes no sense. Democrats, Antifa, the far left, they're all insane. They need to have their heads checked. They need to have autopsies when they're gone, when they pass on, so we can try to fix this issue. I am telling you, You are going to start hearing Trump talk like this. You're going to start hearing other people talk about it. They're going to start labeling it like I'm labeling it. I've been labeling it mental insanity for years, and that's exactly what it is. It is mental insanity. There's no doubt about it. You look at these visuals. These people are thirsty for attention. Why else would you do this? Why else would you cause issues for ICE agents trying to carry out the laws that will ultimately protect you? We have another video from last night. Ryan, play the ICE video that shows the guy telling people you got to push back. I'm going to play another video here for you. I believe this took place in New York. ICE agents had grabbed the guy. I think he was a Latino guy. He was going to have to go through deportation. The wife decided that she wanted to get involved. And she kept on pressuring a ICE agent. And the ICE agent decided enough is enough. And he gets into a spat with her, if you will, inside the facility. Ryan, play the video.
Come on, man. Come on.
So that ICE agent was originally suspended, and then after further review, they brought him back. Thank God they did, because you cannot suspend an ICE agent like that who is getting manhandled and pushed and having screaming in his face. You got people doing things like this woman. I mean, he's been reinstated. He's back on the job, thank goodness. You got people like that woman. You've got other videos. I mean, I could sit here for hours and just play you all the videos. They're getting in front of ICE trucks, ICE vehicles, and trying to stop them. These people are a detriment, and they are always going to come back time and time again until they are punished. Now, I said last night, and I believe it wholeheartedly, these people are paid for agitators. The likes of George Soros and other, Act Blue and these other organizations that always tie back to Soros and other donors like him, far left donors. Through proxy, these people are getting paid. Many of them are getting paid. And the only thing that is going to supersede that payment is jail. You got jail in one hand, you got payment option in the other. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're getting paid and you got jail sentence at the same time, the money's useless. Start cracking down on these people. Pam Bondi, start cracking down on these people. It's one thing to say you're going to do it. It's another thing to do it. If you remember going back early in the year, the far left was destroying Tesla vehicles because of Doge and Elon Musk's role. When Pam Bondi said, we're going to put you in jail for years, guess what stopped immediately? The destruction of Tesla vehicles. You want to see this stuff stop? Start putting people in jail. It has to happen. Now, what kind of people are we putting in jail? What kind of people are we deporting? We are deporting the worst people that you can possibly imagine. And the fact that we have these far leftists and George Soros doing everything they can to try to prevent that from happening leads you to a question of why. Why? I'll tell you why, and then I'm going to play you the video of an illegal alien, Carlos Nava. What this man has been doing to young women is grotesque. And remember, this is who it is that these scumbags are trying to protect. The scumbags who are going after ICE, the George Soroses of the world. Before I play this video, keep this in mind. If you want to destroy the United States of America, and you can't do it with missiles, you can't do it with nuclear devices, you can't do it with an army, how are you going to do it? Well, you could do it with drugs. All right, well, not everybody's going to use the drugs. We could really screw up people a lot with that. But 320 million people, 100,000 overdoses, it's small. All right, well, we've got to do something. What do? The way you do it is you change the population. Barack Obama said it. I'd say this all the time on the show. We're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. He tried to do it through immigration. He couldn't get it through because he didn't have the Congress. He waited too long. He put Obamacare first. And then Joe Biden tried to finish the job. But to be quite honest, the Trump administration is doing nothing. Yeah, at the border they stopped it, but the legal immigration into this country do nothing. If you fill the country with peasants, if you fill the country with radicalization, eventually these people all become voters, and they're going to vote against the GOP, the conservatives, the Republicans, and the country will long-term turn into a socialist nation. It will turn into an Islamic socialist nation. And that's why it is that you have these people in the street trying to do everything they can to defend illegal aliens from being deported. And thankfully, Trump isn't going to listen to this, but we've got to turn up the deportation numbers. Listen to what it is that this scumbag has done to women and how many times he's done it and how many times he's been back in the country, only to be released by the courts. Play the video, Ryan.
Every single time he has a knife, and in most of the situations, he is holding that knife to these individuals' throats. Well, he then forcibly rapes them.
Prosecutor Julia Barker says Carlos Nava likely sexually assaulted at least 17 victims, 6 known to police, 11 unknown, at least 2 of them underage, at least 15 years old, over the course of 19 years, while Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, says Nava re-entered the U.S. illegally multiple times and had run-ins with law enforcement. Then in 2022, Las Vegas Metro Police say they found Nava's trophies, 17 pairs of women's underwear.
That were folded, kept in a backpack, which also had latex gloves in it, and tied up with a rubber band.
Nava was still released from custody again, then rearrested later for additional charges as more women were discovered.
Did you commit these assaults? Did you rape these women?
Barker says his DNA tied him to the crimes, but he has fought his case despite science.
It's really hard for someone to maintain, I didn't do this, when his sperm is in places that indicate he probably did.
His alleged victims, she says, mainly sex workers. But even after an agreement for a price, Barker describes a flipped switch, violence, power, and control. Nava agreed to a plea deal in July. This is supposed to be his sentencing Thursday. Barker asks for 18 years to life. Then, through an interpreter, Nava changes his mind. Clark County District Court Judge Christy Craig points to the charges prosecutors had dropped, the time Nava could face if convicted at trial, and asks him if he thinks this is a good idea.
Do you want to withdraw your guilty plea? It's a yes or no question.
So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a court system and sanctuary cities who want to protect illegal aliens over U.S. citizens. We want people who want to ignore the laws because they're getting paid by the likes of George Soros. This is one of the biggest problems we have right now in the United States of America. Trump is not going to be here for 100 years. Hopefully J.D. Vance will carry the torch. But the work needs to be done. The highlights need to be given. And this is why I always make sure that this show covers this topic. And today I'm covering this and the Muslim invasion that we have here extensively because I really want you to be educated on this. And, it comes down not only to a guy like this who is a rapist and a horrible human being, but we're losing our city streets. And it's not just L.A. We're losing them all over the place. Cities are by and large Democrat havens. And the reason why they are Democrat havens is because a majority of minorities live in these cities. And they want free stuff. And they want the cops to leave them alone. And they live off the teat. And they live off crime. And Democrats support that sort of thing. And that's why these cities are so screwed up. Now, trust me when I tell you that they can get worse than what they are already. New York City is on the brink of being lost in a way that is a permanent loss. And I mean permanent loss. This was a once great city. I did something yesterday. It was a little bit of an op-ed. A little bit of an op-ed on Facebook. Maybe you saw it. Mayor Adams has dropped out of the mayor's race. He didn't stand a chance. He was a nightmare. And I wanted to take a look at what New York City has gone through since I've been, let's call it, an adult. We had a guy, he was a black guy, named David Dinkins. He was a Democrat. And he ran based on the idea that black on black crime wasn't that big of a deal. He didn't come out and necessarily say it all the time, but white people are racists, Christians are racists. And so he didn't focus in on policies that would clean up the streets or policies that would keep people safe. Instead, he ran on race. Well, David Dinkins may go down as one of the worst mayors ever in the history of New York. He created it so bad that Democrat City, New York City, said, we need to have a tough guy, a Republican, Catholic, white dude in here. And that guy's name was Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy Giuliani came in and he didn't focus on race. He didn't focus on gender. He focused on getting the best people in place to carry out the rule of law and to put in good policy so this way the city could thrive. And New York City wound up being cleaned up. Boom, lickety split overnight. Bernie Kerik, the late, great Bernie Kerik, was the police commissioner. He took no BS. We were doing profiling. You know, if it looks like a criminal and it walks like a criminal and it smells like a criminal, it's a criminal. That's how we went about it. And then after 9/11, oh my goodness, stop and frisk, profiling. These are things that keep people safe. And Rudy Giuliani was great. Then came in Michael Bloomberg. And to be quite honest, Bloomberg started off as a Republican. Smart, brilliant, billionaire businessman. And he was carrying the torch. And in fact, in many ways, in some ways, he made it even better because he had such business acumen. He put that into the realm of things. But then he started to slide. He moved away from being a conservative. He went into being an independent. City was still okay. He decided, I want to be the mayor for a longer period of time. Everybody wants me. What did he do? He changed the rules. So now he could stay in there for multiple different elections. And he was in there for a third term. And then eventually he started going anti-gun and he started going left. And then he ran for president as a lefty. And that's when the decline happened. And because he left, not as a Republican, the idea was, let's hand this off to another Democrat. Because Michael Bloomberg started acting, walking, looking like a Democrat. And so what did we get? We got Big Bird Bill de Blasio, who's married to a black woman who was very clear in the fact that he practiced no religion. And he, too, went back on the idea that everything was anti-black. His wife had a great influence on this. You are anti-black. If you're white, you hate black people. If you're a Christian, you hate people. And this is the way he played it. He played everything based on race instead of policy, and New York just went to the crapper. And he was anti-cop, and cops are now getting shot, and cops are getting assaulted, and crime is picking back up. I mean, it's not hard to see. The statistics, they're one thing, but your real account of walking through the streets is another thing. And they both matched. And we had this guy, and he was in there, and he destroyed the city. Then to hand it over to a guy who is also African-American, who was a cop, who said he was going to change everything all around, and people said, okay, fine. Is this another David Dinkins experiment, or are we going to get a different person? We got David Dinkins, another guy who went based on race. In fact, he was so bad, Adams, he started hiring people based on gender and religious background. And, we have the first woman fire department commissioner. Yeah, go talk to a New York City fireman and ask him how he likes things right now. We've got the first Chinese this and the first Latino that and the first black woman this. City is a freaking mess. Instead of hiring people based on their qualifications, not looking at their gender, not looking at their skin, not looking at their religion, Adams says we're going to hire people based on the way New York City looks. Well, New York City looks like a shithole. Excuse my French. And that's why it kept on going to the deep, dark abyss. And so what did Adams do? He welcomes in all the illegal aliens. Okay, you want the illegal aliens? We're going to bus them to you. Boom, Abbott starts, DeSantis starts, all the illegal aliens coming in, going up to New York. What does this guy do? He opens up his arms to them. His entire administration and his entire budget was allocated to making life better for illegal aliens. And as if it couldn't get any worse. If it couldn't get any worse, we may be losing this city to a Muslim socialist, which we're going to get to in a second. But here's a video. You want to see what New York City is like today? There's a kid. I mean, this kid, I want to have him on the show. And I think we're probably about another week or so from Ryan and I having it set up to where we could also do interviews here via Zoom. I want to have this kid on the show. This kid is, he's a skinny little kid, and he embeds himself. He goes into the worst, dangerous areas. Reminds me a little bit of myself, notwithstanding the skinny. But he goes into these areas, and he films some really dangerous people. Take a look at this video. This is New York City, and they're trying to film the streets. Here it goes.
How much?
Yo, what's up? We don't do no fucking camera. Fuck the fucking camera.
Hey.
Keep fucking pushing.
Hey.
You heard? Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Hey. Back off.
I said, fuck you with your camera. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Who the fuck you work for? Bitch ass nigga. Who the fuck you work for? Bitch, who you work for? Fuck you, nigga. You're in public. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, listen, you gonna get the fuck out of here.
Hey.
Beat your fucking ass
Back up.
over here. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You gonna get fucked up. I'm telling you, bro.
Wait, back up.
Fucked up over here.
Back up. Get
the fuck out of here. That's what y'all do, snitch ass motherfucker. Look at yourself in there.
Hey.
Take that shit somewhere else.
Hey.
Why
are you mad at me?
Keep it pushing.
Why are you mad at me?
Take it over there somewhere else.
I am.
Yeah, you work for the fucking, who you work for?
By myself.
All right, get out of here with
Look,
that
I just bought some Rolex.
That's right.
I just bought a Rolex.
You with the Rolex.
It's a fake one. It's a fake one.
It's a fake one. Go to the fucking store and get the real one. Get the fuck out of here with your cameras. Snitch ass motherfuckers. But what the fuck is y'all here for? This is how the fuck we eat. That's how the fuck we eat. So get the fuck out of here.
I'm leaving.
So get the fuck out of here.
Where you come from?
You get the fuck out of here. I come from your mother, bitch.
Really?
You, bitch.
No, you didn't.
Fuck out of here.
Why are you mad at us? We can be here on the street. This is public street.
Yo,
we have the First Amendment.
Here, this our block, you bitch ass nigga. Get the fuck
This is your block?
Yeah, motherfucker. So somebody spend this motherfucker and take the camera away.
I can be here. I don't have anything to be worried about because I'm not doing anything illegally. You see what happens? People come in from other countries illegally. They get mad at you on the streets of the United States. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally.
fuck your business what you do, nigga.
Hey, hey. Hey.
I will smash this bitch.
Hey.
And you gonna fucking lost it.
Hey. Hey. All right, we're out. See what happens? That's the problem. If you just can't let this go on, people need to start standing on business. These people are selling illegally on the streets of New York City. Cameraman just got punched in the face. Took one for the team. He just took one cold right there. They're selling marijuana illegally. That's why they're mad. Thing is, these people don't have papers. You guys heard it there. He said this is his block. It's not his block. He's here illegally. He doesn't even have papers to be here.
These are the streets of New York. This is what's being, permitted to take place. Where are the police on this? I mean, look, if this kid who is a YouTuber is capable of going and finding this sort of stuff, you tell me the police can't? You know how many drugs, you know how many problems you'd get off the corner right there alone, just with all those hoodlums? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we making our city streets safe? Our cities used to be, we always have a problem with cities, of course. You always have your pockets. But, New York City, Detroit, Chicago, LA, these were places that we were proud of. I remember when I was younger, and if I traveled the country and people said, "Where are you from?" I'd say, "I'm from New York." I was proud, because if you were from New York, it meant you were smart. You were street smart. Now, it means that you're a Democrat and you're freaking unhinged. You come here to Florida and people say, "Where are you from?" I have to say, I was from New York, but I left because of the politics. That is literally comes out of my mouth. I no longer say I'm from New York anymore because I don't want to give that false impression that I'm one of these nuts. And we're allowing this to happen. It is happening all over the place. Now, here's the most dangerous part of this, and this comes to the part of the show where I think your mind is going to get blown. I can't understand how we are going to survive this if it takes place. But our biggest city is about a month and a week away from electing a Muslim socialist. If you went away to Australia for 3 years, you had no internet, no TV, no nothing. You just hung out at the beach every single day. And then you came home and said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, Muslim socialist is now running New York City. You're like, "Okay, DML, really what's going on?" No, it's really what's going on. It's really what's going on. This guy's going to win that race. Undami. Yesterday, he was on the shows, the Sunday shows. He said that he's going to take $100 million of New York City money, and he's going to put it towards helping illegal aliens with their legal defenses. He's going to give them public defenders. $100 million. I got a buddy of mine. He used to play for the New York Yankees. His name is Jeff Nelson. And he was thinking about running for mayor. We just saw him in January at Yankee Camp. And I put him in touch with two buddies of mine from New York who are big into politics. And they scared him off, to be quite honest. They scared him off. And I just texted him this morning after Mandami was on. Let me read it to you. Yeah. I said, "Jeff, you should have run for mayor." And he wrote back, "Ha ha, we are moving out of the city. It's not going to be good." I mean, everybody knows it's going to be bad. So how is this happening? How is it happening that a Muslim socialist is going to be taking over the biggest city in the world, let alone the United States? Let me answer that question for you. I'm going to read to you. Here's what I did. Overview of Muslim immigration to the United States. Muslim immigration occurs through several pathways. Refugees and asylees, the most reliably tracked as the government reports religious affiliations for resettled refugees. Family-sponsored and employment-based green cards, estimated based on Muslim-majority countries and demographics. Diversity visa lottery. I've told you about this already, where we just put the names in and we pick out 55,000 names every single year. Diversity visa lottery and other temporary visas leading to permanent residency in the United States. Smaller shares with estimates from surveys, but still there. Overall, the U.S. Muslim population has grown from about 3.5 million in 2017 to around 4.5 million in 2020. Now, we've got 4 more years to tack onto that, and we had all that mass migration at the border. Plus, remember, we take in 1.2 million people a year, so add in another 5 million people legally, and then, of course, probably add in about another, let's just say 5 million illegally. So we have another 10 million people that come in here. These numbers are very, very, very outdated. Very outdated. Recent annual inflows, new lawful permanent residents, refugees, and asylees, suggest roughly 50 to 100,000 Muslims come in per year. And I think that number is extremely, extremely low. This represents about 5 to 10% of the total annual legal immigration. And so when you go through these stats, you recognize that we have ourselves a humongous problem. The top Muslim origin countries: Pakistan, Iran, India, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Iraq. All right? This is not good. Pew forecasts that the U.S. Muslim population will be near 10 million by 2050. I think we're already there. Now, with that said, everybody knows Dearborn, Michigan. We are going to start with Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan is a place that I visited going back about, let's call it 12 years ago, 13 years ago, maybe 10, between 10 and 12 years ago. I can't remember if I visited that for, I think I did. It was They Come to America 3. So it must have been about 10 years ago. And when I went in there, it was the Middle East. 10 years later, if I go back there, I think I'm going to get blown away even more. Now, with that said, remember something about the Islamic faith. Those who are devout, they will be praying 5 times a day. Now, when they're praying, it's not like you and I when we pray, right? I sit here, I do, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Cross my hands, and I just sit here and I make a prayer. Our Father who art in heaven. Okay. They get the whole rug, and they've got to point themselves to the east. They are praying towards a country. They're not praying to the United States. They're not aligning with the United States. They are praying somewhere else. They have brought their garbage here to the United States because they are going to try to take over this country from within. If you're a refugee, you obviously wanted to leave where it was so bad. Why are you praying back in that direction? When you go to Dearborn, Michigan, one of the most incredible things you'll see is that all the satellites, they have all the satellites for the TVs, they're all pointed to the east because they're trying to get the reception from the east. That's what they're watching. A woman who lives in Dearborn just got up in front of the city council and complained that the call to prayer is starting as early as 5 a.m., which breaks the rules. It breaks the town ordinances. And the council basically told her, shove it up your butt. Here's the video of the woman complaining.
But the mosques in East Dearborn are now at times waking us up at 5:30 in the morning with the call to prayer.
This is Dearborn resident Andrea Unger at last night's city council meeting stating that mosques using outdoor loudspeakers for their call to prayer should not be allowed, and says she believes it's not supposed to be allowed per city ordinance.
The noise complaints have been made out and the police have made numerous visits. What is the next step?
There was some question whether or not any outdoor loudspeakers are allowed, something that was not clarified, only that more evidence is being gathered. But CBS Detroit did examine Dearborn's noise ordinance and found that loudspeakers between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. are in violation of the ordinance.
Imagine being that poor woman. You know, you're trying to accept others. You're trying to do the neighborly thing. You didn't sign up for this. You know, you were in Dearborn before this whole invasion started. And now you're trying to complain, and it's going to get you nowhere. And I've already told you, she is now the infidel, this woman. The infidel comes in many different shapes, ways, and forms, where it is that you can actually piss off a Muslim, and now you're the infidel. If you prevent the Muslim from actually praying, you are the infidel. Infidels need to be rid of. So who do you go to? Do you call the police? No, you can't do that anymore. Listen to this video from the head of police in Dearborn, Michigan.
My wonderful wife, Deanna, a strong, proud Palestinian woman. When I joined the department, Dearborn's Arab American population was nearly 50%, yet less than 3% of our police force reflected the community that we served. The department was not always welcoming to people who were different. Today, the Dearborn Police Department is the department that I wish I worked for when I first started my career. It's now a department that reflects and embraces the community it serves, with 45% of our officers being Arab American. It's a department that respects the dignity and rights of all individuals, including the right to wear a hijab, even when facing the justice system. It's a department that is taking meaningful steps to address historical inequity. Together, we've built a police department that values diversity, equity, and respect, one that serves all of Dearborn with honor and integrity. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I'm proud to serve as your chief of police.
Now, if this was an isolated event, if it was the sort of thing where we just said, hey, we've lost Dearborn, it's still not acceptable. And it needs to change. And let me be very clear on something. You know, this isn't me, this isn't you spewing hate. If you want to pray, and wait until I get into this, I'm going to give you a couple of passages from this. This is what women have to endure in the faith of Islam. If you want to do this sort of stuff, have at it back in Bangladesh. Have at it back in Iraq. Have at it back in Afghanistan. I don't care what you do, just for as long as it doesn't impact me or my family or my country negatively. You put negativity into my country, into my neighborhoods, into my family, because you're going to put your religious beliefs in front of mine and tell me that I got to listen to your prayer 5 times a day, it's not going to happen. This is spreading like a contagion. Texas. We all think of Texas, Houston, Texas. We all think of Texas as being, cowboys with boots and guns and Stetson hats. We think of it as being a Republican stronghold. Well, let me tell you something. Outside of Houston, there's a place called Sugar Land. And, I always liked that name because I remember when I first started getting into doing films and people were buying my DVDs. And at that point in time, I was really involved with shipping the DVDs. And I used to look at the addresses, and I can't tell you how many times I would see I was shipping a DVD to Sugar Land, Texas. And I just thought it was such a cool name, Sugar Land. Now I know why they were buying DVDs in mass in Sugar Land, because they were losing. They're losing their city. Take a look at this mosque that used to be a batting cage. It used to be a batting cage where kids were going to play baseball. Now they're going to pray to Allah. Play it.
Welcome to the biggest masjid in Houston. Right here, located in Sugar Land, Texas. One of the most beautiful masajid in America. There is no other masjid like this. This masjid is bringing people here in Texas. It's a magnet for Muslims all over America.
Maryam Masjid is number one. Living in Sugar Land for its beauty, its community. When we moved to Sugar Land in 2000, there was no masjid in Sugar Land. This used to be a batting cage where they had sports and whatnot. This entire building was a sporting cage. This was then converted to a masjid. There was no water. Water was something we used to bring from our home for people to do wudu. The first salah that we had was Asr. It was barely about 9 people. People actually move in from out of state because they see Maryam, they see the community, just attracts them, and they feel that this is the community that they want to belong to. Fort Bend County is predominantly Desis.
What was the reason of Desi population in?
That is just 40 seconds of a 13-minute promo video that would make you say, what? What? That used to be a sports complex for kids? Used to be. Used to be. It's everywhere. And I go back to what I said a few minutes ago. This isn't about hate. This isn't us being anti-anybody. This is us being pro-America. Pro-America. I don't want to live in a place where I've got to listen to prayer 5 times. I don't want to live in a place where it's Sharia law. I don't want to live in a place where the people think that I'm the infidel. Now, these people are starting to get really brave. They're starting to recognize how our system works, that we apologize, that we're ashamed of our greatness. I'm not. Trump's not. We have got to stop allowing these people into our country. We have got to cut it off. There is no assimilation here. Immigration must accompany assimilation. And it's just not happening. There's an event that just took place over the weekend. ArabCon up in Dearborn. And the stuff that just was given to people in terms of content, it's so hard to believe that this is happening in the United States. We have a clip here from ArabCon. It is going to infuriate you, especially when you hear the professor, who is a female from San Francisco State, or whatever the university is there. Wait until you hear what she says about the United States. Wait until you hear the people laugh about what happened on October 7th in Israel, where little kids were massacred. Play it.
We sometimes get uncomfortable talking about October 7th, you know, and as Americans. But how much of that is sort of directly from the, I guess, magnitude of that it just created this like question asking more than anything ever else has before. And, you know, are you seeing your colleagues feeling more empowered to say things, probably because of your steadfastness over all these years? And then finally, do you condemn October 7th?
I condemn Israel and the United States and all oppressions and imperial wars.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very good. That was an easy answer.
And I never ever condemn Palestinian resistance and anyone resistance around the world. Those who are here and who are around the world, write it up.
That's right.
Okay, so anyway, move on to the next question.
Who's vetting these people? She's going to condemn the United States? Who's vetting these people? Who is this woman? I get furious when I see this. And I can't understand for the life of me why it is that the Trump administration, and especially Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, I can tell you right now, I do not like Marco Rubio. I have never liked him. I will not like him. When Trump picked him, I said, this is going to kick us in the ass. It's going to kick us in the ass. Everybody telling me, I mean, I see it all the time on social media here on Facebook. Vance Rubio, 2028. Off of my, no, not a chance. The best thing that can happen from now until then is that Marco Rubio pisses off Donald Trump. It's going to come at some point. Marco Rubio was just, we did this last week, he was just there at the UN shaking hands and making it comfortable for a terrorist, one of the worst terrorists that we've had in the world for the past 25 years. The man has killed thousands and thousands of people, thousands of Christians. He is now killing them in Syria. There was once 3 million Christians in Syria. It's now less than 300,000. This man is a terrorist. Not only is he given a visa to come here to speak at the UN, but Marco Rubio is meeting him and shaking hands with him. Makes absolutely no sense. This guy now has become the hero in the Muslim world because he has tricked the infidel into letting him in their own country. And now he's in the UN spewing nonsense. You know, when Benjamin Netanyahu gave his speech at the UN, I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook page or in the DML News app, but what ended up happening was diplomats wound up getting up and leaving. Over 100 diplomats got up and walked out on Benjamin Netanyahu. And what has happened here is that Benjamin Netanyahu has been painted as a war criminal and as this horrible person. And look, I am America first. I am not Israel first. I am America first. And I'm not Jewish. I'm Catholic. I'm a Christian. But I lived 9/11. And I am under the understanding that our country wants to protect those who are going to be subjected to radical Islamic terrorism. We watched what happens when Islamic terrorism takes hold on 9/11. The Israelis are living 24/7, 365 with eyes in the back of their head. Now, some people want Benjamin Netanyahu to stop. Megyn Kelly, for example, who doesn't know anything about anything. Megyn Kelly, just a pretty face. Megyn Kelly was just up talking to TPUSA students, Turning Point. And she said, I defend Israel, but this whole thing has been going on for too long. My ass. The second that Israel lets up on Hamas, Hamas is going to strike back. Hamas and the Muslims are never, ever, ever going to rest until Israel is wiped off the face of the earth and until they upend the United States. They can't take us down physically like they think they can the Israelis. They can't circle us like they can Israel. So they're going to try to take us over from within and they're going to destroy Israel. It is, if we allow this to continue, it's a function in a matter of time. Not if, but when. The women and children are dying. It's a genocide. Hey, let me tell you something. If you come into my house and you slap my wife, you're leaving in a body bag. Okay? If there are 5 of you that come into my house and you slap my wife, my daughter, my dog, my sons, all 5 of you are leaving in a body bag. And if a couple of you escape, I'm going to hunt you down. And if anybody wants to blame me for that, you can blame me all you want. What are you going to, after I get 3 of the 5, you're going to tell me, let the other 2 go. Come on, you made your point with the other 3. No, screw you. Those other 2 are going to come back. I am going to defend those I love. I am going to defend my home. There's not an American citizen with a brain that would not understand that concept. But there has been such a masterful propaganda machine that has supported this anti-Israel, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist movement. And Marco Rubio is right there amid it. These people are venom. I guarantee you something. If you were to take all of the Muslims and say to them, we're going to give you Antarctica. Go, take it. You got the whole thing. Do whatever you want. We'll even make it. Do you want it hot there? You want to live in the sand? We'll bring in sand. We'll import the sand. We'll send all the gazillions and trillions of dollars we have. We'll use AI. You could have a whole thing. You'll get away from the Jews. They're not going to want to do it. They're not going to want to do it. But if you were to do that, and they said, okay, fine, we'll take it, and Israel was all by itself in the middle of the Middle East, do you think Israel is going to start to try to create ways to bomb Antarctica? No, not at all. They're just going to live in peace. But I'll tell you what, you take the Jews and give them Antarctica, and the Muslims are going to figure out a way to try to take Antarctica down. They are built on hatred. They are built on hatred. You just heard it in that woman's voice. She hates America, and yet she's here. Why? Because she feels it is her calling to destroy the United States of America, and we are being so stupid in allowing this to happen. It is stupidity. They are hitting our family right in front of our faces. All immigration into the United States has got to stop. You thought the problem was at the border? The problem is right there in the immigration department, and the Secretary of State is leading it all. You're a woman? You want to know how women are treated? This is an Islamic leader. I believe this was out of Michigan. This guy is telling other Muslim men how to deal with their wives if the wife doesn't want to give up herself for the night sexually. Wait until you get a load of this, ladies. Play.
The husband has physical needs, and she is not willing to make herself available for the husband. Does she have an excuse, a medical excuse, a valid excuse? No. She just doesn't want to. So if she has no medical excuse, no psychological excuse, no whatsoever excuse, she has no right not to make herself available within appropriate limits and means. If you want to solve this situation, start with step number 1. You have the best attitude, use nice words, and try to make her happy. See what's bothering her. Let's say you tried step number 1. You really did. You went out of your way to try to please her and fix the situation. She's still stubborn. She's ignoring you. She doesn't care. She's being negligent. She's not making herself available. What's step number 2? وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. The next step is now you start applying pressure on her. Let her know that her attitude is not welcome. If that doesn't work, then the Quran says, وَضْرِبُوهُنْ. If that doesn't work, as a last resort, hit them. The Imam ﷺ says in this hadith, we have this hadith, the Imam says he is allowed to hit her with a toothbrush, miswak. It's a small little piece of wood this big. The Imam says if he wants to hit her, he's only allowed to hit her this way. You're allowed to hit without having, this might sound funny to you, but just get the idea here, without having your armpit exposed. That means you can't raise your hand. You have to lower your hand such that your armpit doesn't show the underneath of your arms. You hit like that. Try. Can you really harm someone like that?
So this guy is teaching on how it is that you can hit your wife. There's a book here. I'm going to read it to you. It's from Bill Warner. He's a PhD. And the title of it is The Islamic Doctrine of Women. I'm just going to give you a couple of bullet points that I have pointed out here. The woman Obey Allah and obey the messenger and be on your guard. Bullet points to be known. Based on Islam, a woman's highest achievement is motherhood. The veil and clothing are to be used to conceal a woman's sexuality. A woman's behavior during her menstrual cycle must be controlled by men. Most of the people in hell will be women. Women are less intelligent than men. Women have half the legal standing of a man. It is an insult to say that Allah has daughters. A couple other little tidbits here which are worth reading to you. Allah curses the women who resist sex. Muhammad said, if a husband calls his wife to his bed for sex and she refuses and causes him to sleep in anger, the angels will curse her until the morning. It is Muhammad's tradition that if someone marries a virgin and he already has a matron wife, that he should stay for 7 days with the virgin and then alternate between the two. Conversely, if someone marries a matron and he already has a virgin wife, then he should stay with the matron for 3 days and then alternate the two. If this doesn't sound a little bit bat crazy to you, you tell me what does. I'll read you 2 little pieces more. Oh, I've got plenty of these books. We're going to have fun with this over the next couple of weeks. Sex. Muhammad allowed female genital mutilation as an acceptable practice, and a woman should never be alone with any man who could be a sexual partner. And this is why they treat their women like animals. Like animals. This isn't me. This is them. This is them. I'm going to read you something, and then we're going to get off this topic here for a second, and I want to just play 2 more videos real quick. The Muslim Brotherhood is a big influence in the Muslim world. And I've told you that in the early 2000s, there was the Holy Land trial, to where the FBI had found doctrine that was written by the Muslim Brotherhood, to where they talk about taking over the United States. Let me read you just these 2 things that I think are very important for you to understand. The 1991 Muslim Brotherhood Memorandum, titled An Exploratory Memorandum on the General Strategic Goal for the Muslim Brotherhood in North America, outlined a comprehensive strategy for establishing and expanding Islamic influence across the United States through a process termed settlement. This involved enabling Islam as a rooted part of American society, embedded in institutions, minds, and communities, while building a unified Islamic movement under Brotherhood leadership. The document emphasized shifting Muslim communities from individualistic caution to collective action, conducting detailed studies on U.S. society and Islamic history, and creating flexible mechanisms for implementation with timelines and evaluations. Key tactics included transforming mosques, schools, and centers into multifaceted hubs for outreach, education, social services, and political activism modeled after historic Islamic precedences, all aimed at presenting Islam as a viable alternative to Western civilization. Central to the plan was the civilization jihadist process, described as a nonviolent, incremental effort to eliminate and destroy Western civilization from within by sabotaging it through internal subversion in the hands of believers, ultimately making Islam victorious over other religions. This strategy called for expanding the observant Muslim base, unifying diverse groups, and leveraging coalitions to absorb resources and expertise. The memorandum listed over 20 U.S.-based organizations, ranging from student groups like the Muslim Students Association to financial entities like the North American Islamic Trust and humanitarian outfits like the Holy Land Foundation, as foundational bases to be developed into a coordinated network covering politics, economics, culture, media, youth, and security, all aligned under a single settlement framework to support global Islamic causes, including ties to groups like Hamas. Now, it's amazing right here. One of the comments here in the live chat is a person says, "You are another racist piece of shit." Now, the funny thing about that is that I didn't say anything that was racist. See, what racism is, what a racist does, is he believes or she believes that her race is superior to another race. Now, if I would have said to you, you know, Christians are smarter, better, more worthy of life than a Muslim, then that person would have an argument to stand on. But that's not what I said. In fact, my belief is that all people are born and created equal. It's what you do with that after that creates the situation that you're in. I did not say that men control a woman's menstrual cycle. I didn't say that if your wife does not give it up to hit your wife. I didn't say that my wife has to cover every single inch of her body and only her eyes can see, so this way nobody can see her sexuality. I didn't say my wife can't discuss conversations with another man because that man could be somebody who could be sexually active with her. I didn't say condemn the United States, and I didn't say condemn Israel, and I didn't laugh about October 7. I didn't. What I did was I reported what people are doing and what people believe. And so if that makes me a racist, give me a capital R. The fact of the matter is this: immigration requires assimilation, and these people do not want to assimilate to what we are and what we do. If the United States is going to allow that to continue to happen, we are not going to have the United States. It's not going to be united. It's going to be divided because you're taking oil and you're trying to mix it with water, and it just will not happen. Now, with that being said, two things on the program. I tell you, I want to give you the I love Trump, and I want to give you the crazy left each day before we go, just as a reminder. You know, in Pennsylvania, there's a report out right now that we're only 53,000 voters. We need 53,000 more registered Republicans, and we will flip that state back to red. 53,000. And I think there's a good chance that that's going to wind up happening. With that said, I want to really, really say how much I love Trump, because if Trump wasn't such a fighter, he was fighting for his life, he was fighting for his money, he was fighting for his country, his family, his freedom. Think about all the things that he had to endure to get to this presidency again. If he wasn't such a fighter, we would have Kamala Harris. We have a quick video here. Kamala Harris is actually being invited to give speeches because she has a new book, which is just a total disaster, 107 days. Here's what she said about your president. Play.
With each day, we are witnessing a president who has lined his own pockets and those of the super rich while he raises tariffs on the backs of working people, cuts SNAP and Medicaid, ignores science, ends the war on cancer, and deploys the United States military to the streets of America. And let us be clear, we predicted all that. But CBC, what I did not predict was the capitulation. The universities, law firms, media corporations, the titans of industry who have been so quick to kneel before a tyrant.
Called the president of the United States a tyrant. First of all, if that isn't language that tries to spark more violence, political violence, I don't know what is. But secondly, I wonder if she's ever thought for a second about what that means. When she calls Trump a tyrant, that means that the American people would have preferred to vote for a tyrant than her. I don't think she's got the bandwidth to put that equation together. And then, of course, here, one of my favorite things is the crazy left. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, when I told you at the beginning of the conversation here that there is a mental health issue in the United States, if you said to me, Dennis, show me a video that proves that, well, here it is, Ryan. Play the video as B-roll as I talk right here. Look at these people. They don't know who they are. They're dressing up, guys dressing up as girls, little Bo Peep, walking around. I mean, the confusion on these people. You have to say that we need to get back to having insane asylums. We need to get back to really focusing on mental health. Where is RFK Jr. when you need him? I mean, we should be focusing on this stuff right here. Look at these people. Do you recognize anybody here? I hope not. I hope you don't know any of these people. If you do, it's a bad thing. I hope you don't recognize them. Yeah. Only in America. It could be what you want. Just like this guy here on my big screen here. I got to look at him one more time, man. This guy on the screen to my right is just he is the epitome of mental health on steroids. We got to pray for him. We have to pray for him. We have to pray for this guy right here because he's obviously very confused. I mean, he blacks out the whites of his eyes. And, wow. I don't know. What is that? Is that bad parenting or is that social media? I don't know what that is. All right. So for me, one more time, thank you, President Trump, for putting out that CBD information. CBD, DMLCBD.com. We have the buy one, get one free. It starts today and it's going to run until we run out of product or until the end of October, whatever comes first. I want to appreciate you being with me today. Please hit the share button all the time. Make sure you leave me a comment here. Hit the like button. I am going to read all the comments. Remember, I told you I have this book here. This book is my new catalog. It's my new diary. And I take somebody's comment from the show and I write it down so it's with me. And I just want to repeat last show. It was a Joe Neal Mills wrote, Amen. Accountability through consequences is the only thing that will change things for the better to what should be normal law and order. It was my favorite comment from the show. So what I will do today, like I do all the time, is I will look through all your comments and I'm going to turn the page here and say that for this day, my favorite comment was, and I will read it to you on Thursday, letting you know who got my attention the best. Your comments mean a lot to me, mean a lot to everybody here on Team DML and on the Facebook Live. Please, we're putting a lot of effort here in trying to build back up our presence. Charlie Kirk was a huge inspiration to me in his death that said, hey, I got to get back on the road here and start making my impact and making America a better place. Just can't sit back, In God we trust. The Dennis Michael Lynch podcast. You are all a part of it. So until Thursday, when this show is back again, please look out for all my short videos, my walk-in talks, my little reels, and everything else. We're posting a lot all day long, and it's designed for you not only to consume, but for you to share. If you don't share, you don't care. That's it for me. And any critique you have of the show, please put it here in the comments, other than telling me I'm a racist, and I will read it all, and Ryan and I will try to improve on things. We thank you so much, and if you want to get the DML newsletter, please go to DML360.com. You will get the 47 report every day, and you'll also get the DML report. There's going to be one tonight that I'm going to be writing about Christianity and how it is under fire. There's a war against Christianity right now. We're going to talk about that in my op-ed. So until the next time, may God bless you. May God bless President Trump. May God bless your family, Vice President Vance, and may God bless the gentleman on my screen to my right. He needs blessings, something terrible. Till next time, stay well.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And download the DMail News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DMail.